Hi, I'm Dave Dinkel here in this special series of 2-minute tips, none of which are going to be 2 minutes. I'm telling you ahead of time. If you only have 2 minutes to watch, shut it off now. The idea being I'm going to give you very important information that can change your current career if you're an investor, make you more money, get you more deals, or if you're thinking about getting started, pushing you forward into failing forward. That's what you need to learn how to do. Fail forward to make money. So the question here is, what if I overbid on a property? You're going to overbid on a property. The best way to tell is you put an offer in on a property and the seller or the listing agent particularly says yes almost instantly. They don't say, let me think about it overnight. When students put in offers locally, they'll get all excited and come back and say, the realtor called me back within 15 seconds. Up until then, I couldn't get him on the phone. That's right. You overbid for the property. What are you going to do with it? Well, remember, realtors may not like this, sellers may not like this, but we're in the business to solve their problem and not take a market risk. Now, does a realtor take a market risk? He's going to say to you, look, I advertised, I have overhead. So do we. The difference is we have money on the line if we buy the property and close on it. We're not buying it. We're not going to close on it. What we are going to do is put it under contract and resell it. Now, in some states, what you're reselling is the contract itself. You may be assigning it, you may be joint venturing, you may do double closings. We're not going to get into those details now. All of those are viable. The matter of fact is, when you sign a contract with a seller, you have created what's called an equitable interest in the property. That means you can then advertise it. So despite what the agents tell you, despite what some states tell you, you have an equitable interest in the property and you have the right to advertise it. Not in the MLS, because you don't have a listing agreement and you may not be a listing agent. And if the state comes after you and says this and that and so on and so forth, there have been state Supreme Court rulings that tell you exactly what I'm telling you. But more importantly, what's the solution? If you're concerned that this is really a factor, or it is a factor in the state you're in, just get a realtor's license. That's all you have to do. Now suddenly you become legal, so to speak, to do the things that will make you money in real estate investing. You've also become a professional point of contact for sellers. So you can now list a property and get a commission on it, which I call tips. Or in fact, what you can do is look at the property and make a decision about buying it yourself, wholesaling it yourself, or holding it yourself if you have available funds. A lot of options open up to you. So let's say that you've overbid on the property. The seller comes back instantly and says, oh boy, Dave, you're the dumbest guy in town, without saying that. I'm really happy. Now, why would you overbid? Let's assume that an agent comes into a seller and he says to the seller, look, I'm going to make you a deal. I have pocket buyers. I know the market value in your home's $300. I think I can get you $350. And what's the seller going to say? Wow, take it away. Now, what did he use? He used a comparable market analysis, which oftentimes includes listed properties that haven't sold. But his goal is not to sell it for $360. His goal is to get a listing agreement and move on to the next one. He may have a routine. He calls up and says, Mrs. Johnson, I'm sorry to tell you, but somewhere in your neighborhood, something else traded for $290. We're going to have to reduce our price. Or he doesn't call back at all. He sits back and he lets the novice realtors run around, carrying around people looking for a home. That's not his job. The most effective, most successful realtors are telemarketers. What they do is they telemarket for an appointment or telemarket and get a closing online for a listing agreement. They move on to the next one. I did an analysis recently with somebody local in the state of Florida. He had closed over 150 single-family homes previous year. And he said to me, I see these investors buying these homes. They're making more money than I am. I said, what are you making? He said, I'm making 2 to 2.5% because I don't try to make the spread, the full commission. I just go on to the next one. So I said to him, look, here's one of the students that talks about how much money he made. How much money did you make in the same year? He said, half of what he made. And I did 3 times as many properties. So it's a matter of choice. If you really want to do 100 to 150 properties and make good money, I'm not going to say it isn't, or work less and do more money, you have an option. But it isn't an option if you don't fail forward. Do something. Overcome your fears. And that's why I'm taking the time to do elongated 2-minute tips to, boom, let's overcome what your problem is. But let me answer the fear. What if you overbid? You now have a property under contract that you can't sell. And you'll find out if you put it out to your buyers list very quickly, nobody called. Why didn't they call? Well, you don't have a big enough buyers list, or you've way over offered on it. I mean, that's all there is to it. So what do? Do you close, take a loss on the property, bleed to death while you're waiting for it to be rehabbed or something? No. You give it back. Go back under the inspection period that you have been carefully counting the days and turn it back in. We have all that verbiage for you and everything we do. Is the agent going to be upset? Yeah, of course. You've wasted his extraordinarily valuable time. He could be at McDonald's making more money in some cases, and I'm not picking on them, but most realtors don't make a living. Anyway, realtors, we love them. They buy about 35% of our wholesale deals. What do we pay them? We don't pay them anything. They mark the properties up somewhere between 6 and 15% and resell it to their buyers list. This is what's being done literally all over the country, and people don't realize it. They don't talk about it. Why? Because the guys that are making all the money don't want the new realtors who are coming in to make more than 2 or 3% or 5. Again, still working for tips. So what do? I'm beating around the bush here too much. You very simply say, I'm not interested. Now, realtor gets upset, seller gets upset. We just had one where the student went back 3 times, canceled all 3 times. What happened? Nothing. He didn't even lose his earnest money deposit. Why did he do that? Because the house is just unbelievably bad. And we couldn't get a wholesaler. We always say if the price is right, somebody will buy it. We couldn't even sell it for land value. Why? It doesn't matter why we couldn't sell it. Our 8,000 buyers list wasn't big enough to find somebody to buy the piece of property that was not even worth the land value. Anyway, don't worry about it. I hesitate to use this term, but the inspection period is your get out of jail free card. I say I don't like to use that term get out of jail free because it implies that you could be going to jail for something you're doing. You're not. If you do it properly, you don't get in collusion with an agent who's giving you a price below what somebody else is willing to pay for it. You're not going to get in trouble. So do things right. My strategy has always been do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And it's worked pretty well. I'll see you in the next 2-minute tip.